If you've ever had a toxic boss, you're not alone. Here's why it happens more than it should. What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Glad to have you on here on today. If you're new to the channel, definitely make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit the notification bell. We'll definitely be glad to have you a part of the channel. We're a new and up and coming channel, and yeah, we're trying to grow. We're growing. We're definitely on the road to 1,000 subscribers. With that being said, today I'm actually, it's kind of a chill day. It's kind of a sad day too, because I'm so concerned about how I'm sounding on camera today, because I actually don't have my mic today. I actually got a new camera, and with my new camera, my mic that I currently had doesn't work with the new camera. So waiting for the new mic to get here. Won't be here until Monday. So definitely sad about that. But if you're on my channel, if you've been watching, if you've subscribed, and you know, I want to make sure that I'm constantly pushing out content for you all. We drop a video on every Monday and on every Thursday. And with that being said, you know, today is my day that I would typically record, and yeah, we're not going to take any days off. We don't have a mic, but we're still going to go. We're just going to use our warehouse voice, as we say in supply chain. That way I can make sure I get the content out to you all that will hopefully help you transform and grow. Just like my shirt says today, I got on my no days off shirt. Yeah, we're not taking any days off. We don't have a mic, but we're still going to get the content out to you all. Hopefully I'll be able to edit the video to where you'll be able to hear me clearly, and my words will be enunciated the right way. So with that being said, what we're here to talk about today is basically why some leaders struggle with treating people the right way. I've been in leadership for a while, and I've witnessed good leadership and poor leadership. Prior to me being in leadership, I was once an associate. I was once a temp associate. So I witnessed good leadership and poor leadership as an associate. And then I witnessed it as a leader. And I'm sure some of you have also. And I kind of just want to share my thoughts on why we tend to have so many leaders who struggle with treating people the right way. To me, it's weird. And it's just shocking that some people are in leadership or are in a power of control, or a position of power, or a position of control, because they don't know how to treat people. So when you don't know how to treat people, I struggle with why would somebody be in that position. I struggle with people in that position, in a position of power, and they can't treat people fairly. They can't treat people with kindness. Yeah. You as a leader, you have a job to do. Your job is to lead a team in a certain direction. Your job is to hold the team accountable, to get results with the team. But at the end of the day, your job is to build a rapport with that team. Your job is to build a relationship with that team. Any of you that's been in leadership, you know that you can get more done with honey than bees, I believe they said. You can get more accomplished with being kind to others versus being demanding. Most of the time I see people that are demanding and in positions of leadership that don't know how to treat people fairly in the correct way. They struggle in their career. They get to a point where they hit a plateau, they hit a ceiling, and they can't go any further. And then they're wondering why they can't go any further. And for me, I've actually had somebody ask me that one time. Why is it that I'm this old, I've been in this business longer than you, and you're getting all these promotions, and I've been doing it longer? And my response is, look in the mirror. Because realistically, that person has already got that feedback. But it's up to them to actually take that feedback in and actually try to change, try to transform, try to be a better person. And a lot of times that individual doesn't want to change. That's all they know, and that's who they are. So yeah. But for me, I actually have 5 reasons why individuals who are in leadership struggle to treat people good or treat people the right way. And I just want to kind of go over those 5 things on today. That way, if you are somebody who has a boss who is struggling to treat you right or struggling to treat others right, you may notice or see that they struggle with 5 of these or one of these issues or reasons what I'm going to bring up. Or if you're somebody who you're in a position of leadership and you have those traits that you don't know how to treat people well, hopefully you can reflect on this and change. The reason why I really want to talk about this is because I've dealt with so many leaders who they tell me and they share with me how they want to move up and how they're driven. And, you know, a lot of times those leaders that are super driven and really good, they struggle with this. And it's crazy to me because it's like, you understand this piece, the operational piece of the business, the finance piece of the business, the communication piece of the business, but you just struggle with people. And until you can realize that the people are the most important thing, you will continue to struggle. So I want to share these 5 reasons and we'll see. So number 1, lack of emotional intelligence. They may struggle to understand or manage their own emotions or fail to empathize with others. This leads to poor communication, impatience, or even disrespectful behavior. You know, emotional intelligence is so important. Like, it is highly important to have some sense of emotional intelligence, because if you don't have emotional intelligence, you're not able typically to read the room. You're not able to determine how your message is being perceived by the team, the associates, whoever you're communicating to. And because you struggle with emotional intelligence and you struggle with being able to perceive, you typically come across in a way that you feel is authentic or the right way, but in reality, it's coming across disrespectful to the team. It's coming across in a manner that the team has now become disengaged with your communication. So they haven't even truly heard what your message was, right? So when I put lack of communication or a lack of emotional intelligence, it leads to poor communication. The reason, or part of that reason for poor communication, is because when you're struggling to communicate and be able to read a room and understand how your team is perceiving your message, you're still going with the message. You're still sharing that message. And your team, like I said earlier, they've now become disengaged. When somebody becomes disengaged, they disconnect. When someone disconnects, they're not even paying any attention at this point. So they don't even hear what you're saying anymore, right? All they're stuck on is what you said that caused them to disconnect. Whether it was something disrespectful, whether it was something hurtful, whether it was something painful, whether it was something intimidating, that's all they're now focused on. So all the good things that you may have said, or all the true things that you may have said, they've totally lost that communication. So that's where that poor communication comes in. Typically, somebody that struggles with emotional intelligence doesn't know how to be patient. They're typically impatient. They're typically like, deadlines are super important, right? Deadlines are super important. However, somebody that struggles with emotional intelligence, they may give one of their people a deadline, and instead of allowing them to hit the deadline, they're tacking on other stuff, to the point where they won't even be able to hit the initial deadline because you've added these other 4 or 5 things to my plate, and you know I have this major problem or this major deadline going on that I need to hit for you. So they struggle to even understand that your impatience and your inability to understand or see or just have that intelligence level to know that this person needs help, you're going to cause them to miss their deadline. So you've given them deadlines, but because you struggle to be able to articulate and see and understand that they can't hit this deadline because of all the other problems or projects you've given them, you've now shown your ability that you're impatient and you're just going to keep adding to them. So they also have disrespectful behavior. So with disrespectful behavior, they don't think that their behavior is disrespectful. However, others read that their behavior is disrespectful. And they think their behavior is, they tend to think that their behavior is okay, honestly. People that struggle with emotional intelligence, they feel like their behavior is justifiable. I have a leader currently who they struggle badly with emotional intelligence and trying to actively work with them. But they honestly think their behavior is justifiable. They think that their behavior in which they treat people, in which they speak to people, well, I'm just being honest with them. You'd rather me be honest with them, right? There's a way to be honest with somebody, but to be honest with somebody in a respectful manner. There's no need to be disrespectful to people. Because at the end of the day, us as humans, not even as men or women, like most men, they deal with pride. So to be disrespected, that's like a trigger. But just as a human being, who wants to be disrespected? So if you struggle with just speaking to somebody with respect, you're struggling with emotional intelligence, and you need to really think about it. You need to really change. Because if you don't change, then you will continue to struggle. And once you continue to struggle, you get to a certain level. And once you get to that level, you just hit a ceiling, and it's like, it's no moving forward at that point. Because now you have like this bad cloud hovering over you, and this is what people remember about you and know about you. So, number 2. So people that struggle to treat people right, they have insecurities or an ego. Some leaders feel threatened by others' success or ideas, so they control, micromanage, or belittle to feel powerful. Ego gets in the way of connections and growth. You know, it's crazy when you have to belittle somebody else to make yourself feel better. And I've seen it so much. Like, I've seen it to the point where it's sad. And, you know, it's sad when the individual is this more seasoned leader or this more seasoned person, and you belittle people who are coming up in the ranks to make yourself feel better. To me, that's a problem. That's problematic. And it's because that person tends to have an ego. They tend to be insecure about their own doing. So they struggle with that. And I know another leader. I've never led this leader, but I know another leader who he's basically the definition of somebody who is very insecure and is on ego trips because he constantly belittles other people. That's how he leads, is by belittling people and by yelling and by, to be honest, by cussing and threatening. And, you know, that is a horrible way to lead people. That's a horrible way to guide people, because eventually it will catch up to you. Eventually, everything that you do will come to light. And when it comes to light, nobody's ever going to want to work for you. Everybody's going to know the true you. And there may be a small group, right? Because this leader that I know, he says everybody loves him. There may be a small group of people that are okay with it because they have to deal with it, or because they struggle with insecurities themselves. So they just attach on, because at least if I attach on, I'm not in his line of fire or her line of fire. So people that belittle others, you can tell that they're on an ego trip. And they tend to, like it says in my notes, they micromanage. People tend to micromanage constantly. It's like, did you do this? Did you do that? As a leader, if you have to micromanage your leaders or your people, then you have to look in the mirror, because you shouldn't have to micromanage your people. Now, if you have an individual on your team who you have to micromanage, then maybe that person can't be on your team. But this is my thing with that. My thing with that is that if you have to micromanage everybody on your team, you got to look in the mirror, because everybody doesn't have a problem. You likely have the problem. You likely are the issue. You likely are the problem. And the only way to fix that problem or issue is to fix your own behavior. So you got to learn to look in the mirror and reflect and ask yourself daily, am I developing, mentoring, coaching, training, and guiding my team to where they can be better and self-sufficient without me? If they can't, it's problematic. Number 3, poor leadership training. Many leaders are promoted for performance, not people skills. Without training and how to lead humans, not just manage tasks, they fall back on what they know, which often isn't enough. Now, this one's a good one. I've seen so many people get promoted based off of their sheer performance. I think that's the worst thing. I think when individuals are promoted off of their performance and their results and that alone, then that can become a concern. Me personally, when I promote somebody, I look at how the other leaders operate around them, how the associates operate around them. Are they willing to talk to them? Or do they trust them? Do they have a relationship with them? I was asked by a leader a few weeks ago, actually, what do I need to do to get promoted? And for me, it's like, okay. For me, it's literally what you need to do is you should be operating at your boss's level if you're looking to get your boss's job, but you should also be operating in the sense of your people. Like, your people, I should hear nothing but praises about you. Even leaders that hold people accountable, that treat them fairly, if you know a leader who's a fair, firm, and consistent leader, or as I say, fair, firm, and consistent, or I'm gonna be fun, fair, and firm, those leaders, they tend to focus more on the relationship first so that I can then hold my people accountable. Because once you've established a relationship with somebody, it's easy to hold people accountable. It's easy to get people going in the right direction. And then the people that you're holding accountable, they know that you're not holding them accountable for just no reason. You're holding them accountable because they actually dropped the ball on something. When you don't have a relationship with people and then you go to hold them accountable, or you haven't treated them fairly, or you haven't treated them with respect, you go to hold them accountable. It's like, hold on, how are you going to treat me or how are you going to hold me accountable and you've never done X, Y, Z? So for me, it's no, you have to start with building a relationship, and then it becomes easier to hold the person accountable. Typically, people that they establish a relationship and a rapport with the subordinates that work for them, when they go to hold them accountable, if you ever have been in a situation you had to terminate somebody or part ways with somebody on your team for dropping a ball for something, it's typically an easy conversation. It's never an easy conversation, but it's not a conversation where you're in fear of what is this person going to do to me. I work with individuals who they're worried about, well, we need to have security up front, or we need to have security in place when we turn. Why? If you have a relationship with this person, it hurts, But if they drop the ball on something, they are definitely aware because you've likely been having these conversations with them. So, yeah. The next thing is pressure and burnout. So that's number 4. Overwhelmed leaders often default to short tempers, detachment, or inconsideration. They're not necessarily bad people. They're just burnt out and taking it out on their team. Yeah, some people don't know how to handle pressure. That's what that simply boils down to. Some people, whether it's too much pressure or the pressure's just been constant and now you're burnt out, now your pressure, if you're the leader, you're supposed to be able to take all of it in. You're supposed to be able to absorb all the heat that's coming down from your bosses or your superiors. You're supposed to be able to take all of that in, and then if you're communicating that message to your team, it shouldn't be that same message, right? If your superior comes to you and says, you got to get it together, you're messing up, your message to your team shouldn't be, you're messing up or going off on them. You should be able to communicate, articulate, enunciate, and share that message in a way that gets that team moving in the right direction versus gets that team totally off topic. I'm not even gonna say off topic, but off in a way where they feel like they just don't want to work for you anymore. Because pressure typically, right? It says pressure can make diamonds, but pressure can bust pipes. Typically, a leader that's taking too much pressure, when they burst, it's like a pipe bursting, and everybody in their vicinity will now feel the pressure or the item that's being burst. Like, for me, I'm just imagining a pipe bursting. If a pipe bursts and that water just splashes out, it just hits everything in its vicinity. That's how leaders who can't handle pressure are. That pressure hits them and then they just burst, and everybody that's around them, they feel their wrath basically. And they should never feel, no one should ever feel an individual's wrath for the pressure that they're under. And then number 5 is misaligned values. Some people simply prioritize results over relationships. They see people as tools to hit goals rather than as individuals with potential and needs. The people matter. That's the easiest way to say that, or to put that. Your employees, your leaders, managers, whatever you want to call them, and I say that because I don't even like using the word managers, but your leaders they're individuals who they matter. The people that you work with are the most important thing. And if you don't understand that people are people, they're human beings and not just numbers or tools or throwaway objects, then you really don't get it. People want to be treated like people. People want to be treated the right way. It's funny to me that those individuals that are like that, they're quick to say, somebody didn't treat me fairly. They're quick to say it. And it's just shocking, like, you don't realize how you treat people, but yet you want to be the first person to run and say, somebody didn't treat me fairly. You can't do that. You can't be like that. So, for me, it boils down to, you got to treat people the right way. I said all of that because at the end of the day, if you don't treat people the right way, if you don't treat people with kindness, with respect, like another human being, then maybe you don't need to be in a position of leadership. And it's okay, it's fine, right? That doesn't mean that you can't, maybe you can go be in a tech role where you don't have to deal with individuals, or there may be another department in your company or your organization where you don't have to deal with people, where you can still be a high earner, but you shouldn't be leading people. I think anybody that is in a place of a leadership should daily reflect. They should reflect daily. Because when you reflect daily, you're able to think about the conversations that you had that day. And are they the right conversations? Were they perceived the correct way? And if they weren't perceived the correct way, then you should work on correcting that behavior, but you should also have enough in you to apologize or to go back and at least explain what you meant to say. So with that being said, hopefully we as leaders, we as people can continue to treat people with respect. We can continue and start to treat people with respect and start to treat people fairly and equally. And I think that if we're able to do that, we will create a more friendly, respectful job force or workforce where individuals won't leave. And it's crazy because when you look at retention rates nowadays, that shows that there is a disconnect between employers and employees. And we're not going to always be able to say, oh, it's the person doesn't want to work the job. That's what everybody likes to throw out there now. Oh, this new generation. It's not the new generation. It's the way that you as a leader or as an individual are typically treating your employees. If you don't believe me, jump on YouTube, jump on TikTok. You see all of these videos of people walking away from their job, quitting their 9 to 5. And a lot of people quit because they're starting their own business or whatever, but a lot of people quit because they're just tired of being disrespected and degraded. So again, if you're a leader, you got to start reflecting daily. That should be a part of your transformation. Part of your transformation should be daily reflection. And then part of your transformation should be becoming a better leader, becoming a better servant for your people. But with that being said, if you stuck around this long, hopefully, that means you obviously enjoyed or felt like this message brought value. And if it did, my ask is that you leave a comment. My ask is that you definitely like the video. Make sure you share the video. If you think that somebody needs to hear this message, if you think that this message resonated with you and it would resonate with someone else, share the message, share the video. That way somebody else can hopefully grow from this. And with that being said, later.